What's up everyone, it's Earl, the Rookie Woodworker, and today I'm going to solve one of my problems that every wood shop has. I got a pile of scrap wood building up, so it's time to do something with it. So I'm going to do another porch decoration project. Now around here I have pumpkins that light up for Halloween. I got a snowman that lights up for all winter long, and then I have an Easter bunny project that is around here for Easter. So now I need a summertime decoration, and I got just the idea for what to do for that. Let's do it. Alright, so let's get this party started by milling down some pine. And what we're going to do with this stuff is we're going to make a barrel. So the first thing we're going to do is mill it down nice and flat, and then get a nice flat edge on it over at the jointer. That way we could go cut it up on a table saw. Alright, so we're going to make a honey barrel here, so I need to do some math and figure out what I need for that. So I need cut angles. Excuse my handwriting's terrible. I need the radius, which would be the whole way around. And I need how wide the side pieces are. Now what I know is I'm going to have 10 side pieces. And I want it to be about 9.5 to 10 inches wide. So these are what I do now. So we'll take that and figure out the rest. So cut angles, we're going to go 360 degrees is the whole way around it. Divide that by 10 pieces. So these pieces are going to join together at a 36-degree angle. So we need to divide that by 2 because it's 2 pieces joining together. So you need to split that angle up between the two. So divide by 2 would equal, my cut angle needs to be 18 degrees on each of the pieces. The radius, so 9.5 to 10 inches wide, so it'd be about 9.75 inches. We're shooting the middle there. Times pi, which is 3.14, would equal 30.615. So 30.6 inches. And then we will divide that by 10 pieces, would equal, our pieces will need to be about 3 1/16 inch wide to land right between 9.5 and 10 inches wide on the barrel. So that's pretty easy, right? And then over here at the table saw is where we're going to make those 18-degree cuts happen. And we got to cut that 18 degrees on both sides of these pieces so that whenever they join together, they'll make a 36-degree angle. Then I took those pieces over to the chop saw and chopped them down to the same length as the barrel is going to be high. Then from there I'm going to cut 2 dado grooves in each piece. One is going to be at the very bottom where there's going to be a panel on the bottom of the barrel, and then one is going to be near the top where I'm going to have a layer of honey at the top of the barrel. Then I went ahead and got some painter's tape and taped it all together to see how good everything is fitting, and then to measure out to see how big that bottom plate needs to be, and also how big the honey layer needs to be. So then I took a scrap piece of melamine and I cut out the circle, and that's going to be my bottom layer, or my bottom plate. And then I'm going to make a matching circle, which is going to be the mold for the honey layer. Then at this point I'm going to put together my melamine mold, which will actually be the mold to make a silicone mold, which then will be used to make my honey layer. I'm using a 2-part silicone mix, and you do want to make sure the stuff is mixed up properly or you will have some gooey spots in your molds. Now when I was doing the Easter eggs, I found out that these molds do end up with air bubbles throughout the silicone mix, and if you don't get them out, they can end up going into your epoxy, and then your epoxy will go into those air pockets and get stuck in there. So I did use the vacuum chamber to get all the air bubbles out of this mold. And then I poured it in. without recording it because I forgot I was shooting a video. It happens. Sorry. And that mold is going to take about a full day to get a full cure on it. So let's go ahead and laser engrave some stuff while we're waiting on it to dry. Then after that is good and dry, we'll go ahead and pop that out and get ready to get this epoxy party started. Now for the epoxy, I'm using a deep pour liquid glass. It's a 2-to-1 epoxy. You want to make sure you mix this stuff up really well, just like the silicone stuff. If it's not mixed up properly, you will get some soft spots and some gooey spots in your mold. So I'm going to mix and mix and mix for a couple minutes straight. And then what I'll do is I'll grab something that's totally not meant for this, and I'm going to use it to scoop some gold powder into it. And then we'll get right back to mixing and mixing and mixing some more. Just in case some stuff isn't getting mixed in from the sides of the container, I'm going to pour it out into a fresh container, and then I'll hit it with the mixer again. Then what I'm going to do here is utilize the working time by putting it in the vacuum chamber to make sure I get all of the bubbles out of my epoxy mix. So go ahead and roll that beautiful bubble footage. And this gets all of the bubbles out with a quickness so that I don't have to touch it up with a torch nearly as much after I pour it out. Otherwise I'd have to hit it with a torch like every 20 minutes for like 3 or 4 hours. And usually when you pour this, you end up introducing some bubbles to it when you pour it, but they're so big that they raise to the surface and you can blow them off just as fast as what they formed. I tried to put some swirl marks in this stuff, and you can see that it kind of starts going away like right away. And what I believe is happening there is the epoxy itself is kind of turning in on itself as it's generating heat as it's drying. So it's going to generate a bunch of heat, and then the heat raises to the surface, cools off, and it's going to keep on rotating around, and I'm not going to be able to get some swirls in there that'll stay. Now with this deep pour epoxy, it's going to take 3 days for that to fully cure. So in the meantime, why don't we get some laser engraving done? Projects like this make good, easy use out of some scrap plywood. That's why I like them so much. And after the 3 days, this is how it turned out. As you can see, all the swirls just went away and it left this cool pattern. I'm not mad about it though. I kind of like this pattern. It's pretty neat. I think it works out pretty good. Looks like honey. Now that I have my honey layer completed, I can go ahead and glue up this barrel. Now you notice that I cut all my pieces so that the grain are going up and down. That way whenever I glue all these together, I'm gluing edge grain together and not end grain. That way we get a stronger joint. And this is what my barrel of honey looks like from the top. So the barrel is going to take a minimum of 4 hours to dry. I usually like to give wood glue a full day to dry out and get a good bond. But if you're gentle with it and you're not going to beat it around too much, at 4 hours you should be able to handle it without disturbing those joints. So while that's drying, let's take the time to cut out some cartoon bears. I'm using a Wen 14-inch bandsaw to do this, and for the most part the Wen 14-inch bandsaw has been good for me, but I found that the bearings to it are wearing out faster than what I think they should. Yeah, I haven't really gone through more than maybe 1 or 2 blades on this thing, and I'm ready to replace the bearings yet, so I'm kind of looking for a bearing upgrade kit for this thing. If you guys have any good ideas, a kit that's your favorite kit, let me know in the comments below. Now the bottom of this barrel is also going to be the access panel for it. So I'm going to make it so that it bolts on each end with a threaded insert inside the melamine. So at this point I laid out my bears the way I want them to be, and then I pinned them together with some brad nails. and then I put the barrel on top of the bearers where I want the barrel to be, and then I used as many brad nails as it took to make me say, yeah, that's enough. Hindsight being 2020, it probably would have been easier to drill this hole before I put it all together, but you woodworking, you learn, right? That hole is going to be for the wire that's going to lead to this light that's going to sit inside of it right here. I could have went with an LED strip setup for this, but I went with this instead because for the price, it's pretty similar in price. You can get one of these lights at your big box store for about 20-25 bucks, and then get a cord in for like another $3 or $5 to run a cord to it. So for the price, I think this is a little more hardy of a setup and a little more of a long-lasting setup. But let me know in the comments below, do you think this is a good setup for this, or do you think an LED strip setup would have been better? After spraying some outdoor polyurethane on it, this is how it turned out, and I couldn't be happier with the way this project turned out. Now, many of you may have noticed by now that the word bear is spelled wrong. And now that you've made it to the end, I'm going to explain that for you. Bear is actually my last name. It's spelled different from the animal, but it is pronounced the same as the animal. Now, I know there's going to be some people that didn't watch this video the whole way through the end, and as soon as they saw that, they're going to go to the comments and let me know the error of my ways. And that's where I'm going to rely on you guys who watched to the end to go to the comments and gently set them straight. But thank you all very much for watching, and as always, hit the like button if you like this video, and hit subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And if you want to, check out some of the other videos that should be popping up on your screen around you right now. And until next time, make something awesome.